Hey guys, Jimmy Sewell, Southern Bones Outdoors. Welcome back. So what we're going to talk about in this segment is we're going to talk about the parts of the bow, what you need to know about the bow, and how you're going to set the bow up. So at this time, I'd like you to get ready for the bow. So what we have on the bow is I want to go over the parts of the bow. And you need to know the parts, so if you have a failure, equipment failure or something, that when you call the bow shop, you can talk the right language, so to speak. So, the parts of the bow. This is the cam or the wheel. This is the string. This is the cable. This is the cable. What this is a string suppressor. This is the cable slide. What happens is the cable slide through this cable glide. And what it'll do is just keeps it in the right position so it's out of the way for your fletching to come by when you shoot. Then we also have a cam up top. You have a cam down below. This particular bow has some silencers. What these are is in the bow shop you'll call them spider legs or whatever. You say spider legs in just about any bow shop, they'll know what you're talking about. This particular bow has a weight that they've put into the string to make the string pop a little quicker, that gives it a little bit more speed. Alright, you have the limbs, which is what the cam or the wheel attaches to. You have the limb bolt. From here you go to the riser. It's not the grip. This is the grip, the actual black part. This would be the riser. This would be your sight window. This would be your sight mounting brackets. And this is your sight. This happens to be a G5. This is a rest. This is what your arrow rests on. So when you put the arrow in the bow, you lay it down in the rest and you attach it to the string to get ready to shoot. This particular bow, instead of a string nock, it has a string loop, and 99.9% of archers are using the string loop these days. So you also have this is a wrist sling. So when you shoot your bow, you don't have to really grip it really hard. You can kind of relax, and that way you don't have to worry about your bow hitting the ground. Okay. This right here is a stabilizer. Some stabilizers are solid carbon with a little bit of rubber on it. My suggestion, anytime you can put rubber on your bow, that will stop vibration. So when you shoot, the string goes twang, the cables tighten up, it makes a noise. So anything you can put on your bow as far as rubber, I'm a big advocate of anything you put on to make your bow quieter. Alright, this particular bow has these are limb savers. I don't know why they call them savers. When they came out on the scene, I thought, limb saver, it saves my limbs. It don't save the limbs. What it does is you draw the bow back, the limbs will compress. Once you let go, they release quickly. I don't even know how to say faster than quickly. And then what these do is they take out the vibration of when it stops. So what deer will pick up on is vibration after the noise. So if it's a noise that's really quick, or if it's a noise that lasts like twang, they can pick up on if you miss. So I will say this, there's a video that we have up. I was able to kill 3 deer in one morning, and I do know this, my bow was quiet enough to shoot a deer, and within 10 minutes another deer came back. So what I said on the video is, just because you shoot one deer doesn't mean the hunt is over. That means the hunt begins. And so we sat there, I think we sat there another hour and a half, and I was able to harvest 3 deer that one sit. So anyway, so I wanted to tell you about the parts of the bow. So what this segment is about, it's still beginning archery, but we're going to talk about a little more specifically of what the beginning archer needs to look at. So on this particular bow, it's a G5 bow, and as we talked about last time, it is a kit bow, so to speak. So when you say kit bow, what does that mean? That means it comes with a set of sights, it comes with a rest, a stabilizer, a sling, probably 6 arrows, and could possibly even come with a release. It's a kit, meaning I buy this bow and it's kit ready. All I've got to do is just sight it in and shoot. Also, I failed to mention that it could have a peep sight. It could have the silencers or not, but those are things that you're going to need to go to a bow shop and get put in. So when you have a peep sight put in, Maybe the package comes with it already in. What a peep sight is designed to do, its only function without any kind of additive. Need to hear me. Additive. Additive being able to screw in a lens of a 2-power or a 3-power or a 4-power. All the peep is supposed to be is an anchor point. So now, one thing we didn't talk about is an anchor point. What an anchor point means is when you draw the bow, you come to the same place every time. Now, I know some guys, it's great to put your thumb behind your neck for an anchor point. I know where I put my thumb on my neck, which lets me know that I'm pulling it back at the same time. I want to tell you this, your grip is very critical of your right and left. Your anchor is critical of your right and left, but mostly of your high and low when you shoot. If you do not do the same thing every time when you draw a bow, you will not be consistent. I need y'all to hear that. Archery is a consistent pulling, drawing of the bow, aiming the bow, and not knowing when you let go with your release or your fingers. That is the key. What will happen is when you anticipate, okay, I'm aiming, I've got it back, I've got my anchor point, I'm aiming, I can't hold it anymore, I need to shoot. That rushes the shot and makes you an inconsistent archer. What we're looking for is consistency. So you've got your bow, you've got your bow package, you've took it to the bow shop, you've had them to put your peep in and line it up, you got your silencers on there, you're ready to go home and begin to practice. I said on the first part, practice with a purpose. You need to start at 5 yards. I'm talking about almost to where you can touch the target. Because when you sight in a bow, you follow your arrow. If you hit left, you must move your sights left. If you hit low, you must move your sights low. In sights today, you can gang, being more than one, move those to where your first pin is at 20, your second pin is at 30, 40, and 50. Back in earlier days, we would set 10, 20, 30, but the bow speeds, you do not have to set a 10-yard pin unless you want to, because your 20 will get you close within 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So I start off, I shoot a 1 pin. We'll talk about that later. But this particular bow has multiple pins. What that means is more than one. When you have more than 1 pin, means when you shoot, it's a range from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. And what that does is your arrow comes out of the bow in what's called a trajectory. It rises and falls just like a bullet. So what you have to do is at each yardage, you find out in the arrow's trajectory from your bow on where to put the mark to hit at the yardage. You need to start at 5 yards, 5 steps. A 6-foot man takes a 3-foot stride. So 5 steps, turn around, and I know it seems crazy, but you must get your bow sighted in before you can go to the different yardages. So I have an analogy. If any of you are familiar with a level, I have multiple levels. I got a 12-inch level, a 5-foot level. They even make an 8-inch level, 8-foot level. If that level is off, minute, a 1/16 of an inch, at the beginning, when you stretch that out 5 or 6 foot, it's going to be off a 1/4 inch or more. So imagine at 20 yards, which is 60 feet, that if you're off this much at 20 yards, you will be off this much when the arrow hits the target. Remember that, because it takes a straight trajectory. So if it's off, it'll fly to the whatever direction you're off at. So I need you to start at 5 yards and get to where you can hit what you're aiming at. Move your sight. Remember, follow your arrow. If you're hitting left, left, low, low, right, right, up, up, just follow that arrow. If it's 4 inches left, move it left until you hit dead on. If it's 5 or 6 inches low, move it low to bring that arrow up. And what you're doing is, it's really hard to explain until you see it, but what you're doing is If I'm hitting low and I move it high, when I aim, everything goes low. But if I'm hitting low and I move it low, it makes me pull the bow up. You have to remember that. It's not like sighting in a gun. You follow your arrow. Left, left, right, right, up, up, down, down. Real easy to remember. So as you're sighting in your bow, you've got it to where you're hitting. Now you're backing up, getting a little more confident, because I'll go ahead and tell you, archery is 90% confidence, 5% ability, or 10% ability. Straight up. You know what? If the Indians had compounds, we might be living in a different place. Remember that. So you've got your bow sighted in at 10 yards, 5 yards, and you're ready to move back. And what I need you to know is a very small movement. Remember the analogy of the level. If a very small movement, it will affect my it will affect my arrow where it's impact at different distances because it's further. You see how I move my hand? 20 yards it may be here, 30 yards it may be there, 40 yards it may be here, because it's taking that trajectory. It's where you pointed the bow. So there's other ways to shoot, whether you want to shoot a one pin, whether it's a mover, but you still need to mark those yardages. So I tell you, for easy of me, I'll take a piece of 1-inch tape and tape a horizontal line. And then I will tape a vertical line, because for me, it's really hard to hold on one spot. So if I pull my bow and I'm sighting it in, I go to the horizontal line and I adjust it up, you know, get my height right. And then I'll go to the vertical line, and then I'll get my left and right on. And then when I aim at a dot, I've took left and right and up and down together to come to the point of where my pin hits the target. And each distance is what this pin is designed to do. So I believe there's probably a lot of things that people's not telling you. So if I have a 20 and a 30-yard pin, what do I do at 25? You split the pins. You split the distance between the pins, and in between the pins becomes your point of aim. So now with that, I want to talk to you about aim. When you aim at a target, do not look at the pin. Look at the target on where you want to hit, and allow the pin to get into your peripheral vision to where you're not staring at the pin, but you're staring at where you want the pin to be, and you put that pin in that spot. So at this point, it's real easy to talk about releases. Releases is like colors. A release is something that instead of your fingers letting go of the string, you have a trigger that acts like a gun trigger that you attach to the string, that you squeeze a trigger and it releases that string from its grasp. So there's handheld releases, there's wrist releases, there's a bazillion, and I've been guilty of buying them all. But what I want to tell you at first, I'm sure that your package, if it doesn't come with a release, I'll tell you this. It was an old saying years ago, and it'll probably mess some folks up when I say this. I won't drop my hands from my deer stand. I won't leave my hands in the truck. I won't have a malfunction with my fingers. With releases and release aids, you may have malfunctions. You may leave it in the truck. You may have dropped it on the trail on the way in. If you can shoot fingers, I would suggest shoot fingers, because you will never have a breakdown. And you would use a finger tab or a finger glove, some kind of aid that will allow you to hold that string. And we may need to get into that next time on the next segment as far as using fingers versus a release, because right now everything's being said that you shoot release. If I would have never picked up a release, I would probably be a better hunter. I didn't say archer, I said hunter. I may not be as accurate as I am with a trigger, or a trigger that you use by your hand versus fingers, But the difference between hunting and 3D or target is my kill zone is approximately 8 inches. It's an 8-inch circle. I can hit an 8-inch circle, and I'm sure you can. So deciding in the beginning, like we talked about earlier, whether you're going to shoot tournaments or shoot, 20 yards indoor archery tournaments or whatever, this particular segment is for hunting. And I believe it's more practical to know that my fingers know how to pull the bow than versus me using an aid that aids me and to be more accurate. So this is Jimmy Sewell, Southern Bones Outdoors. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll be back with another episode.